Hey guys, Marcinkin here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so we just got a bunch of tweets from the JP Twitter account announcing the details for the EZA'S that we saw showcased in yesterday's reveal video alongside the Part 2 LRs. The basic translations are out now, shout out to the Dokkan wiki page. So we are going to go through those here now and see what these guys are looking like. So I'm going to start off with the INT Zamasu. So this is one that I think a lot of people had put a lot of hope into being good, considering that neither of the new LRs are going to be extreme. So this is going to be obviously the only buff out of these units that were revealed yesterday to Zamasu's team, or at least especially the full extreme version of it. So taking a look at what he does, raises attack and defense for 1 turn, so good super attack effect. Supreme damage to the enemy, recovers 7% HP. The 7% HP, I believe, is the same as pre-EZA. I do not believe he had, I'm just getting the card details up here on my phone for his pre-EZA version, because I don't believe he did raise, no, he just did supreme damage and 7%, so he now gets raised attack and defense for 1 turn. And now his passive is attack and defense 180%, reduced damage received by 40, raises attack and defense by up to 120, the more HP remaining the greater the boost, reduced damage received by 20% when all allies attacking in the same turn are Realm of Gods characters, launches an additional attack that has a great chance of becoming a super attack, starting from the turn in which the character receives the 6th attack in battle. Now, pre-EZA, he just had 40% damage reduction, and the buff based on his HP that only went up to 60. So now that means if you're on turn 1 and you have maximum HP, he's getting 300% attack and defense. He's got 40% damage reduction unless you have a full Realm of Gods rotation, and then he has 60% damage reduction, which obviously on the Goku Black team is very easy to do, right? Or sorry, the Zamasu team, sorry, yeah, we didn't get a Goku Black. On the Zamasu team, very easy to have that happen. And then, yeah, after he receives 6 attacks, he then does an additional with a great chance of becoming a super, which means he has the chance to raise his attack and defense for the turn again and recover another 7% HP. So that definitely seems very, very strong. One of the big issues with the TEQ Zamasu is the fact that once his intro buff runs out, his damage reduction in slot 1 drops off by quite a bit. Whereas this guy on a full Realm of Gods rotation is going to have 60%, as well as the fact that if you're on IHP, which that team does have a lot of healing, he's going to have a lot of base defense as well. And then, of course, if he does take a bit of damage in slot 1, if you've taken 6 hits by that point, because we're at the point where TEQ Zamasu's damage reduction has run out, or at least gone down, you've probably taken the 6 hits, so then you could potentially heal 14% just from him attacking after he takes those attacks in slot 1. So he seems very, very good. Definitely a good addition to the Zamasu team. So next up we have the STR Super Saiyan Future Trunks. So he greatly raises attack for 1 turn, does supreme damage, and raises defense by 40% for 6 turns. Now this is really good. He had the raise on defense for multiple turns pre-EZA already anyway. But he did not have the raising attacks. That is good. It is only greatly for 1 turn, but still very good. And then, of course, 40% for 6 turns. That means if he gets multiple supers in 1 turn, those all stack up, right, up to a certain amount. So attack and defense 180, reduced damage received by 40%. Pre-EZA, it was 40, but he had no start of turn attack and defense. Raise attack and defense by up to 180, the less HP remaining, the greater the boost. So he's one of those tanks that's going to be very useful for those times when you're on low HP, because then he's going to have tons of stats and then the 40% damage reduction. He gets an additional super attack and attacks effective against all types when there's a Realm of Gods enemy. So that's going to be very useful for like the these later and the newer ones that will be coming out, red zone stages, because you're getting those extra stacks on the defense. You're also greatly raising attack again, and then reduces damage received by another 10%, starting from the next turn in which the character performs the 6th attack in battle. So because he can get an additional super in certain events, you probably want to build him for additional. That means he can attack 3 times in 1 turn, which is going to be pretty good, because remember, he gets the additional super guaranteed. It's not an attack that has a chance to be a super. And then the hidden potential, even if it's only a normal, it says performs the 6th attack, right? Not the 6th super. So if you get lucky with the hidden potential additional, proccing both times in a row, you have his thing fully built up after 2 appearances. So from his 3rd appearance, he then has 50% damage reduction. So he seems pretty good as well. The only problem is, of course, the fact that all the future Super Saiyan Trunkses have the same name, because they won't call him Rage Trunks for some reason. So he seems pretty good as well. Good to see that. Now we have AGL, Trunks, and Mai. So these guys, I was very interested to see how good they would be, because they are a pretty solid unit already. So they greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn. They did that pre-EZA. They do supreme damage to the enemy, and now they lower attack and defense. That's cool. Then they get attack and defense 150, reduce damage received by 30% when all allies attacking in the same turn are future Saga. Okay, that's really good. Characters, key +3, additional attack and defense 150 when there's an ally whose name includes Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, which obviously very easy to do, like with the new blue boys on the team and stuff like that. Plus an additional attack and defense 100% when there's a future Saga enemy, additional 3 key, attack 150 and guaranteed crit when facing an enemy whose name includes Zamasu or Goku Black. So in terms of those buffs at the end for like the various characters or allies, those are basically the same. They're getting a bit of extra attack, and they still get the guaranteed crit when it's Zamasu or Goku Black. The extra attack for a future Saga enemy is now attack and defense, so that's really good, getting the extra defense as well. And then, yeah, attack and defense 150 when there's a Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. That was 100 pre-EZA. So they basically tuned up all of their stats and then gave them 30% damage reduction when all allies in the same turn are future Saga. Now, unfortunately, they're not a support unit, but with their links that they'll share with some of the other future units, these guys could be a pretty solid slot 2. I feel like they're a good option for a 3rd slot floating unit if you don't have very powerful supports and you're worried about them getting killed in slot 3 by the end, like the tougher bosses, because these guys after supering are obviously going to have very good defense, especially against future Saga enemies, where they're getting all this extra defense as well. So these guys seem pretty good. The only thing that I don't believe they showed, because they didn't post the translation, I don't know if it's on this image here, is their active skill. Because these guys have an active skill that raises attack 628% temporarily, does damage to the enemy, gives them guaranteed crits for the turn and stuns the enemy guaranteed, but it halves their defense. And that can be activated when there's another ally whose name includes Trunks Teen Future, Trunks Future, or My Future in the same turn from the 3rd turn from the start of battle. Now that is the pre-EZA, but I guess actually it's an active skill, isn't it? So we know active skill conditions don't change. So the active skill, I guess, actually will remain the same, and that's probably why they didn't post anything about it. But with the new team build and the new units that we have and everything, that's going to be really, really easy to get. The fact that it halves their defense is still kind of unfortunate, because even though they're going to get a lot of extra defense now with this new build, obviously by halving it, it means they're going to be losing quite a lot of defense as well. But they should still be very good. Their active skill will still be a very good strategy to use, especially on turns where you can get them in a slot where there's no attacks or maybe only one. And then on a rotation where you've got something like, you know, you've got Vegito Blue out, so he's giving 50% to the rotation with his 18-key super, then you'll be able to use these guys' active skill and still be relatively safe, which is pretty cool. And now the interesting one. I guess this is probably the potential most interesting one. Future Gohan TEQ, because I'll read his pre-EZA passive first before I even read this. So he greatly raised attack and did extreme damage, and then his passive was attack and defense 70% when HP is 80% or below. So if you're at 81% or more HP, like turn 1, he has no passive. And then his super attack was, yeah, greatly raise attack and do extreme damage. So he, complete blank slate. When we were talking about on stream, I really wanted him to be a support unit because he shares the same name with the new LR Future Gohan, who's going to be a really good slot 1 unit. So this guy being anything other than a slot 3 would be kind of disappointing. So if we read what he does, so massively raises attack, and it's a stack, that's still the same. Raises defense for 3 turns, so that's good. You can get a couple of stacks on that. Supreme damage, obviously he's not going to do extreme damage anymore. Attack and defense 158%, plus an additional attack and defense 158% for 5 turns from the start of the turn. Okay, so in short events, he's got big stats at the start. Additional attack and defense 158% when HP is 85% or less. Plus an additional attack and defense 58% when HP is 58% or less. Oh my god. So in the first 5 turns, if you drop to 58% or less HP, he's going to have an insane amount of stats. That's kind of crazy. Future Saga allies 2 key and attack 30%. Yes, there you go. It's no defense, but there's that support. 2 key, 30% attack. I'll take that. High chance of evading enemies' attack and launches an additional attack that has a medium chance of becoming a super when there's an Androids or Future Saga category enemy. Of course, they had to get that in there somewhere for a Future Gohan unit. So, but I mean, fortunately, he seems like he's going to be very good without that. Because obviously Androids or Future Saga enemy outside of the new events from this celebration, like how often are we going to come up against those? But the rest of his passive does seem to make up for it, and because he gives support, he's going to be a slot 3 unit again because he shares the same name with the LR. So if you're running him on the new LR Future Gohan team, they won't link, so you want this guy in slot 3. After he gets his super off and then even potentially an additional, he's going to have very good defense, especially if you were on low HP at the start of the turn. So this guy seems very good. So all 4 of these EZAs actually seem kind of good. Like, I would go as far as to say very good. So very interesting to see. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Do you like the EZAs? Which one do you think is the best one? We don't know yet 100% whether they're going to be one new Extreme Z battle to awaken all of these guys, because like TEQ Future Gohan isn't a sub EZA. The AGL Trunks and Maya are sub EZA from the 5th year LRs, and then I think Trunks and Zamasu are from like an old Vegito and Rose dual Dokkan Fest, I think. I can't remember. So it'll be interesting to see how they actually do the Extreme Z battles, or if it's an Extreme Z area, which would be weird, but who knows. So when we do find out, obviously I'll let you guys know. I'll do a team building guide if it is an Extreme Z battle, as I always do. But like I said, let me know which one is your favorite. What do you think of these EZAs down below in the comment section? So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.